Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with ReadyNet Solutions. Today's host is our very good friend, Bill Pedersen, and he is their Voice Product Director, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Bill can answer them at the end of today's presentation. Bill, thank you so much for being with us again. Looking forward to what you have. And I am finished for now, so please go ahead and take it on over.
Thanks, Julie. Greatly appreciate being here with everyone, and thank you for everyone for joining us on today's presentation. And this is one. It's going to sound like a repeat from maybe some of others in the past, but we've got a new product to announce. We just came back from CV Expo down in Phoenix, Arizona last week, and we did a new product announcement, and we're going to share that with you today. And in part of that, we're going to talk about what is your POTS replacement plan. And so what's POTS? POTS is plain ordinary telephone system. It's an acronym for analog phone lines. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to help capture on this great market opportunity. And so we're going to start off. What is your POTS plan? Do you have a POTS replacement plan in your organization? Maybe you're a service provider, you have your own voice switch. What is your POTS replacement plan? I've had some carriers literally come to me and say, we don't have one, we're not going to touch it. And then once they see our product, they're going, that's it, that's all we have to do. That's simple. And you can capitalize on a great opportunity. So we're going to go through a few things. I'm going to just skip through a few slides here. These are some of our products, but we're going to focus on the main part of POTS replacement and our new Alert Link product. But let's talk about some things that you may or may not be aware of. Okay, what's happening in the POTS replacement space? Costs are going up. We're seeing POTS lines, these analog phone lines, go up extra. Oh man, I can't. It's stupid how high they're going up in price. Dependability, breakdowns, service and repair. This is one of the key things. I just had a customer tell me, he says he wasn't even aware that POTS lines were going away until he had one that went out on him, and he tried to get some customer support. Doesn't exist. Billing, clarity, it's getting complicated, and when you see your bill, you're going to go, holy crud. So we're going to talk about a few of these things, but to get a better understanding, you got to understand what happened. Back in August of 2019, basically the FCC came out and said to all the carriers, hey, you can abandon your analog phone lines. We're not going to make you keep them in place. We're going to make you service them. We're not going to let you, if you don't want to sell them anymore, you don't have to do it. Because laying copper in the ground it can be very expensive. And, with IP, everything going to fiber or wireless, it can actually put a strain on some of these carriers. So the FCC ordered it's not really an order, just basically told the carriers, hey, if you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to do it. So that's been in place. So big cities, big areas, we're seeing this on the East Coast and the West Coast. The land in the middle, so to speak, isn't quite seeing it as much, but they're just saying, hey, we're starting to lose our lines here. So what does this give you? This gives you an opportunity. There's over 40 million traditional copper lines still active. That means 40 million devices that are connected to these phone lines. What are they? They could be your fax machines. They could be landlines at your house or at your business, alarm lines, elevator lines, call boxes. And we're going to go through some of these things. So think about it of, okay, if those are going away, how much of that market can I capture? As I just mentioned, we have customers that have said that their bills have gone over $1,500 for one phone line. That's ridiculous. But if you're the carrier, that's a great way of saying, hey, we don't want you as a customer anymore. we don't care if you leave, because they just don't want to do this. And some of these copper lines are just being disconnected without even the customers even noticing that. So right now we're seeing anywhere, traditionally $65 to $100 per month. And they are anticipating that these analog lines could hit as high as $3,000 a month. Can you imagine your phone line at your house, if you still have one? Maybe your parents do, maybe your grandparents still do. It's gonna hit $3,000 a month. I just laugh. But here's what's happening. AT&T just sent out as many as 700,000 landline disconnect notices in 1 month. 700,000. Now, if you could capture just a portion of that in your market, in your area, and a lot of these people, they don't fully understand it. And so they see this stuff and they're like, just throw it to the side. And then it happens and then realize what has just taken place. And so what is that going to affect on the back end? That bottom bullet there. We have some states that'll fine the building owners $100 a day for elevators not working. That's a steep cost. And so how do I overcome that? Okay. Standard VoIP is not compatible. It's not really designed for telephone lines, but we have some boxes that will work, and we'll go over that. And there's just a couple of bullet points there you can just glance through. Many elevator boxes won't hang up on a VoIP call because it doesn't know how to disconnect the call within the elevator. Data modems struggle. This would be for like on an alarm line or just a simple modem. Intermittent fax transmissions, that's another one. If you're still running analog over fax, this might be a good time to take a look at digital fax or eFax type services. But we do have some solutions here. This is the new product, the ReadyNet Alarm Link and ePOTS. We call it ePOTS. I think we're calling it as an enhanced POTS service. But Alarm Link is basically the name of this brainchild. And we're going to talk about how you can customize this, not only for your applications, but for your customers' applications. And you're going to notice there's a lot of little numbers here on there. We break out, tell you exactly what these things are and what they're doing on it. But if you were to open up our ReadyNet's Alarm Link, this is what you would see basically inside. And I'm just checking my clock, make sure we're good there. Julie, if we get over, you just start letting me know. But as you can see, we've got a 4G and we're scaling for a 5G router there at number 2. Number 1 is just the enclosure. Number 3 is our ATAs. Now think of this. Maybe I only need a couple of lines for my POTS line replacement. Maybe I need more. I can scale this and build this based on what I need. So I can go from 2 to 8 to 16 if needed. And I think we can even go as high as 32 units that we can mount in these enclosures. We have number 4 is our battery backup. And this is a smart battery. So this will give us, anywhere between 12 and 48 hours of battery backup to keep the equipment running, keep the alarm lines and these POTS lines up and running. Number 5, we have our punch down block. So basically all these ATA ports come outside of this NEMA enclosure and go right to a punch down block. And on that punch down block, now we can just terminate, move from one block to another that's already existing in the building, and we can punch down on number 5 there on that punch down block. Makes it very simple. Number 6 has a power cycle. So what this module is doing is it's actually talking to our remote management services, and this allows us to monitor the power conditions of not only the battery backups, but also on the equipment, and allows us to power cycle the equipment if needed as well too. So we can see the status of our battery backups. We can see the status of our 5G router. We can see the status of our ATAs. We can see the status of 989, our alarm and fire alarm links on there. And if we need to, we can power cycle these things and bring them back up if there was, something that caused them to lock up or something. The great thing is on these devices, I can use primary internet that's already within the building and just pull an Ethernet and plug into this, or I can use the 4G, 5G router, and I can use the 4G, 5G router as a backup, as a failover. So I've got failover within failover on this device. And so a lot of people are saying, okay, what does that do from a security perspective and from a monitoring perspective and everything? ReadyNet's alarm link replaces that DMARC controller that is it's basically your Honeywell controller, okay? We actually have that in this box, and there's going to be a new product release next month. It's going to make this even more simpler. So we're doing the communication, we're doing the handshaking. We can also do contact closure as well for signaling on the devices as well. This box literally goes into the back room, into the closet or into the cabinet, mounts on the wall, and you just plug things in automatically, power it up, update your monitoring company of what is going on, where these calls are coming from, and you're literally good. I've heard this device can go in as within an hour easily. And we're going to talk about some of the things that will help streamline it for you when you go to order the product. ReadyNet ePOTS, enhanced plain old telephone services. Here's our applications. And you're like, wow, that's quite a few. We got voice, we have elevator, fax, blue lights, point of sale devices, pool phones for emergency communications, security, access control. This is a big one. On just swimming pools and access control systems, we are selling a lot of LTE 520Ss for this application, because not only does it give them ePOTS to this, but on our LTE 520S, which is basically inside this box, inside of Alarm Link, is an LTE 520S. And I can do IP pass-through. I can now start remotely managing my gate controller, my access control panels from my office. Panic buttons, meter readings, modem, out-of-band management. Another great one. Maybe I just need to access it so I can access to other equipment within my network. Out-of-band management is a key player for this product as well. And then, of course, SCADA applications as well. And ReadyNet's picked up a very large contract in regards to SCADA applications across the entire United States that will apply to about 300 different locations in the U.S. over the next 6 months. So there are applications that we've talked about these in previous, but we bring this up because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see where someone would need that. Okay. So our solution will provide you a lot of things: technical support on the back end, active monitoring, service status and alerts. So if anything goes on, the monitoring company, and also we're not monitoring the alarm panel, but we're monitoring the equipment that is doing the monitoring and passing that traffic information to the monitoring service. Remote diagnostics and resolution if I want to do out-of-band management, lifetime warranty, and it's fully cloud managed on this. Okay. So Ports Pottle, got pots on it. POTS Portal, that's a tongue twister. Say that 10 times. So we can now include 24/7 access. We can overview all of our lines. We can see what status those lines are in. We can break out those services in various locations as well. So we've got location management. We get detailed on that. Everything that you can see here on these slides here, we provide on our management portal. Key thing, batteries too, because I mean these batteries will probably go for about 3 years, and at some point you'll want to replace those batteries out. So you've got maintenance contracts as well. So you can see how this all becomes a monthly reoccurring service. Okay, and this is kind of a breakdown of our device here. So you've got your soft switch network, you've got your managed network there on the left. I'm just going from left to right here. Your central monitoring services, we can do it over PSTN, we can do it over IP or wireless as well. Then you come into the protected part of the equipment, kind of that middle section, 4G router, the ATAs, the battery backup. That is our equipment. And then you can see how it comes out to the what they call a demarcation point. That's basically the punch down block that you then connect your customer's equipment to our block tip and ring for those phone lines so you can monitor them. And they've got it nicely broken out how you can do that from here. Kind of gives you a nice clean visual of what we're doing. Okay. Here's one for MFVN compliance. This is your fire application for your fire control panel. Just give you a quick second to take a look at that. Pretty straightforward when you see it. So here's basically what we're providing. So you get I'm going to go from the right to the left here. You got your demarcation, which we just talked about. We connect into the ATAs and we go into the 5G router, or that can be 5G or it can be LAN-based as well too. If I just want to connect to my existing internet. So you've got redundancy there. So if your internet goes down, it's going to switch over to the 4G router, and then you go through your gateways and then out to your PSTN. And you, as a customer, you might be the one that has the switch. And so it's like, okay, I would like to put my services on. Okay, grab a box, test it, make sure it works and is compatible on your network. And then you provide those SIP paths, so you're making the monetary reoccurring revenue there with your services as well. A couple of minutes here left. So we provide the NEMA enclosure. There is your ReadyNet router, either 4G, 5G is coming out. We're hoping we'll have that announcement next month. If not, I've got another one. ATAs, 2-port up to 16-port. Battery backups is, basically they're just mini UPSs, and they'll provide up to 24 to 48 hours. And keep in mind, they're all smart battery backups, so we're monitoring the status of those batteries. And then you've got your 66 block or your punch down block for your punch over. So we provide all this equipment in the NEMA Firebox enclosure. Okay. This is kind of some of the numbers that we've got, and we pulled this from Granite, AT&T, and CenturyLink, which is now Lumen. We need to have my folks update that, but we're seeing, traditional copper lines anywhere between 65 and 125 bucks. And then after deregulation, we're seeing them anywhere between 150 to 1,500 bucks. And back east, I know I'm hearing a lot of customers are saying that's around $400 for them right now. But if you can sell a panel for 55 to 85 bucks a line, you're in good shape. That's good revenue, and it's well, the costs on your switch. This is very good, cost effective, very good revenue stream. Okay, so we do a service where we can provide everything for you. And we base it on a 30% margin. So we'll provide the equipment, we'll provide the SIM cards, we'll hardware, everything. And if you just were to do 2 lines a week, you're going to see about almost just sub $1,500 in reoccurring revenue in a year, which is pretty decent. And this is happening. We got customers out there that have already got over 7,000 lines installed on some of these things. So kind of gives you an example of what this, based on a 20% margin. So you do 20,000 lines, you're not even scratching the surface of this market opportunity. There's $720,000 in potential revenue for you. Let you stare at that for a moment. Okay, so why ReadyNet? ReadyNet, we've been in this industry for years. We've been providing services for MSPs, ISPs, voice carriers for years now. We know what our customers are looking for, and we're trying to align ourselves with the market and to come out with cost-effective solutions for you to get there as well also. And that is the end of my presentation, Julie. I kind of went over just a couple of minutes, but yeah, if you have any questions, now is a good time. I'm going to stream this back up to the front here, and I'll just kind of leave it right there. So this is
Thank you
Alarm
very
Link.
much. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say this is Alarm Link and ePOTS, and I just want to bring up one point. You can purchase Alarm Link as a standalone alarm panel without ePOTS. You don't have to have ePOTS with it, but you can grow it. If you know you need analog lines to replace some existing POTS line, you can add ePOTS to this as well also.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Bill. I love the presentation. I'm sure everyone else did. And of course, I've got some questions all lined up here for you.
Okay.
Let's get started. All right, let's get started with the first one. Here we go. How does your POTS replacement plan address the current challenges associated with traditional systems?
Well, that's a great question, and not all VoIP solutions are compatible with this. We are using some proprietary technology, and we test our services on different switches. We've tested on BroadSoft. We've tested on Meta. We're also testing on Silhouette, and there's some asterisk switches that are out there that are being tested on now. The problem with an asterisk type switch is we can't really say exactly which ones they will work on, because literally that's what asterisk is. It's an open-based platform, and everyone's platform can be a little bit different. So, but yeah, you got to be careful. You got to make sure. That's why if you're a voice provider and your switch, it's not compatible on your switch, maybe it is for the voice. Maybe you just need call pass. Maybe you have elevator lines, you've got call boxes, just where you're passing voice traffic. This is a great solution. It'll work on your switch. But if you're starting to pass data across those analog lines as well, so we're going from a data signal to an analog signal to a VoIP signal, and reverse that on the other end, then you're gonna need to make sure you test that and make sure that it's working, it's compatible. If it isn't, we have a solution that we can bring to you that's very competitively priced, where you can still add a reoccurring service for your customers.
Thank you so much, Bill, for that. We're going to go right into the next question. Here we go. What can businesses expect in terms of future updates and enhancements to your products?
That's a great question. So ideally, you're going to see, and this is a great slide to be on. So number 8 and 9, which is your fire and alarm interface box, that will be all in number 2. And that could be coming very, very, very soon. So that's going to eliminate cost on hardware for this box. And if we can implement that within the router itself, now keep in mind, my router already has ATA ports in it. So I'm good there. So all I'm doing is taking tip and ring, going over to my router, taking tip and ring, going over to my router. So I've got that covered. So if I can embed the control, the communication protocols that IP-based information into my router, I can eliminate these 2 boxes and cut down the cost on these alarm panels extensively. So.
Thank you so much for that, Bill. Excellent, excellent. Let's go to the next question here. Can you provide some examples of successful implementations of Alarm Link in real world scenarios?
Yeah, so we do have Alarm Link going into replacements on mostly on fire alarm systems, and they are using a few of the ePots on it. I'd have to go back and check with some of the applications with our customers, but the fire alarm market right now, an elevator line replacement, this is where we're seeing the majority of our pickups. So anytime I have a call box, elevator, a fire alarm, I can now do it all in one box, and I can save costs on hardware, and my monitoring cost now comes to one dashboard versus a bunch of them, and it's simplifying these applications immensely.
Thank you so much for that, Bill. A few more questions here, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. What types of businesses or industries stand to gain the most from adopting the ePots technology?
I don't know if I have a true answer to that, because there's so many different applications right now that are using that have analog applications. I'm working with a company out of South Carolina right now. They're replacing all their lines with ePOT solutions for access control systems into gated communities, into buildings, and they also have recreational areas. So they've got a lot of swimming pools as well too. So they're taking those existing analog lines and replacing it over with ePots. So that's just one application. My other application is we've got solar farms that, they've got regulations that require that they have to have phone lines established out on these solar farms out, and these solar farms are huge. So they don't want to rely, totally on cell phone communication. They need to do it over, they have to have a call box, is what I'm trying to say. So they've got a lot of applications there. Building managers, if you've got elevator lines or access control within your building, that's going to be a huge one as well too. Fax lines as well. Now, fax lines, if you can avoid doing it over 4G or 5G, the better, because faxes do eat up a lot of data on your plan. So if you're limited on a data plan, you might want to reevaluate that or look at some of the new plans that AT&T and T-Mobile and Verizon have out that might be able to adjust for that. So Julia, it was a loaded question and I appreciate it, but there's really so many to list on this. We get surprised almost weekly on new applications where they're trying to use our products.
Thank you, Bill. That was a great overview. I realize that, there's a lot to it, but no, thank you so much for that overview and everything you said. It's excellent. Thank you.
Here's another one. I was just thinking, I'm sorry, Julie. Point of sale systems. We got so many legacy point of sale systems that are still using phone lines. They got the splitters that went from the alarm to the fax machine to the POS terminal in the restaurant or the storefront. That's another applications. You got all these POS terminals, point of sale terminals that you need to connect to an analog line as well too. There's still a lot of them that are out there. So.
No, thank you, Bill. You are a wealth of information. We appreciate it. So here we go. A couple more questions. Next one here. Are there any specific challenges or considerations that businesses should be aware of when migrating to ePots?
Just get with a great partner. There's a number of great solution providers that are out there, and maybe you want to talk to your local company that's providing you with your voice services at your business and ask them what they've got. And if you know, if not, have them, you know, say, hey, have you looked at the ReadyNet solution products? And, you know, a lot of people have, a lot of people haven't. Like I say, this is a brand new product for us. So we're addressing a specific niche in this market, and a lot of people are just not aware of it. So facility managers, building managers, voice service providers, all these companies are great to talk to try to get more information.
Thank you so much for that, Bill. A couple more questions. Next one here is, are there any ongoing training programs to keep users updated on new features or best practices for these solutions?
Well, yeah, and we're working on that. We're actually working on a video series through ReadyNet, and you'll see more of these starting to come out, where we'll talk about products and specific applications for that product. So you might see, you know, we might talk about our LTE 520S, which is a big seller for us on the 4G ATA product. There's so many different applications, so many different opportunities for that product. We might not talk about the product itself as much as we do talk about the application. So those will be starting to roll out at the first of the year. We're starting to do those. Yours truly is having fun with that, and we'll be doing a lot more of those as well.
Thank you so much, Bill. Last question here for you. How does ReadyNet stay ahead of evolving security threats and technology trends in the development of these solutions?
Well, that's a great question. And I'll tell you, from a LTE perspective, we have to be very careful with that. And there's a lot of things that are going on out there. You can go buy a data plan from any of the carriers, you know, walk into an AT&T store and buy a data SIM or whatever. What I like to recommend to companies is to look for providers that might run over those backbones, like an AT&T network, that have a private APN that have security built into the network. And you pay a little bit more for it, but it's worth its weight in gold, knowing that that back end of your network is completely secured, that no one will be able to access that. And if you need more information, ReadyNet has some partners that we work with that actually provide those services for you.
Bill, thank you so much for answering all those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending our webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, of course, please feel free to contact your sales rep, or you can email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, please make sure to remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so we can all view it again. Bill, have a fantastic day. Everybody else, the same. Until next time, Bill, looking forward to next month's webinar with you. And we'll be happy until then at that point.
Thank you much. Thanks, Julie, and thanks everyone for attending today. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.